You walk into a room full of people. You look around, smile politely, but say nothing. You're not upset. You're not shy. You're just quiet. And yet something shifts in the room. People glance at you. Some smile awkwardly. Some avoid eye contact. One person whispers to another. Someone else says, "Why are you so quiet?" That question, "Why are you so quiet?" It's asked like it's a problem. Like your silence is a mystery to be solved or a threat to be handled. When I was younger, I was that quiet person. In classrooms, in friend groups, at parties, I'd observe more than I spoke. Not because I didn't have thoughts or opinions, but because I liked to listen. Because silence gave me peace. Because words, when spoken, should matter. But the world didn't see it that way. They thought I was shy. Some thought I was rude. Others even assumed I was depressed or angry. Funny, isn't it? People rarely ask loud, talkative folks why they talk so much. But silence, that gets questioned. Here's the truth. When you're quiet, people project their own thoughts onto you. They see what they fear or admire or don't understand. In today's video, we're going deep. We'll explore what people really think when you're quiet. Why silence is so misunderstood. How society interprets it. And what that says about them, not you. You'll learn how your quiet nature can be a strength. How to use it to your advantage. And how to stop letting other people's assumptions define you. So grab a drink, get comfy. Because this might just change how you see yourself. And maybe how you see others. Let's dive in. Let's go back to high school for a minute. There's always that one kid who doesn't talk much. Sits in the back, always listening. Rarely speaking unless called on. That was me. Maybe it was you too. And people would start to wonder, is she okay? Why is he so quiet all the time? Do they hate being here? Some even assumed I thought I was better than them, just because I didn't join in the noise. Crazy, right? But it happens all the time, and here's why. 1. People think you're shy, even when you're not. Quiet and shy are two very different things. Shyness is a fear of judgment, a social anxiety. Quietness, on the other hand, is often intentional, a preference. But most people can't tell the difference. To them, if you're not talking, something must be wrong. They've been taught that confidence equals talking, that leadership equals loud, social equals speaking up. So when you're quiet, they assume you're weak. They don't see the storm of thoughts behind your stillness. 2. Some think you're judging them. Now here's an ironic one. You're minding your own business, sipping your drink, not saying a word. And someone suddenly snaps. What? Why are you looking at me like that? You weren't even looking at them. But your silence made them uncomfortable. Why? Because people often project their own insecurities onto quiet people. Your calm presence becomes a mirror. And what they see reflected back isn't always pretty. They assume you're judging them, when really they're judging themselves. 3. Others think you're rude. Let's be real. Our world values extroversion. Say hi to everyone. Join the conversation. Don't be rude. But silence isn't rude. It's neutral. And yet, if you don't say hi first, or don't jump into small talk, people label you as standoffish or cold. They expect noise, and when you don't give it, they assume the worst. But here's the twist. When they're quiet, they call it tired or having a long day. When you're quiet, it's a character flaw. 4. Some think you're mysterious, and they're right. Now, not all judgments are bad. Sometimes people are drawn to quiet. They see you as deep, thoughtful, even mysterious. Because let's face it, the less you say, the more people wonder. In a world where everyone overshares, silence feels rare, valuable, even powerful. There's a reason why the quietest person in the room often holds the most attention. Not by force, but by presence. But here's the tricky part. That mystery can attract the wrong kind of curiosity. People might try to break you open, like a puzzle. Not to understand, but to control. 5. Some think you're weak, until you're not. Here's something I learned the hard way. People underestimate quiet people until we speak. Then suddenly it's, "Whoa, I didn't know you had that in you. Where did that come from?" As if insight only belongs to the loud. But our silence doesn't mean we have nothing to say. It means we're waiting for the right moment to say it. And when we do, it usually matters. That's the difference. Look, if you're someone who prefers quiet, this doesn't make you broken. You're not missing a piece. You're not failing at being human. You're simply playing the game differently. And sometimes that quiet is your power. Hey, if this is resonating with you so far, take a second to like the video. It helps more quiet voices find this message. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Because around here, silence is respected, and your voice, it matters, whether it's loud or soft. All right, let's keep going. Let's ask the real question. Why does silence make people so uncomfortable? Why do we live in a world where you're expected to speak quickly, loudly, constantly? And if you don't, people assume there's something wrong with you? Reason 1, silence disrupts social scripts. We're taught that conversation follows a script. Hi, how are you? Good, and you? Small talk, light laughs, constant response. Silence breaks that script. When you don't respond right away, when you take your time, when you simply observe, you're not playing the game the way they expect. And that freaks people out because they don't know what to do with you. Reason 2, noise equals comfort for most. In modern culture, noise is often confused with connection. People blast music in their rooms so they don't feel lonely. They keep talking, even if they're not saying anything meaningful, just to fill space. But you're okay with the space. You don't need constant sound to feel alive. And that makes you different. To the average person, that difference can feel unsettling, even threatening. Reason 3, your silence feels like a mirror. When you're quiet, people suddenly hear their own thoughts louder. They become more aware of their insecurities. They start wondering what you're thinking, even if you're just wondering what to eat for dinner. Your silence becomes a blank canvas. And they paint their own fears on it. They think, she must think I'm boring. He's probably judging my outfit. They're too good to talk to me. But the truth is, you were just lost in thought, or observing, or simply enjoying peace. Their assumptions, that's on them. Now let me tell you something important, something no one told me growing up. Quiet is not the opposite of strength. It is a strength. The power of silence. Think about the strongest people you've met. The wisest, the most grounded. Were they always the loudest in the room? Probably not. Real power isn't in shouting. It's in choosing when to speak and when not to. It's in listening deeply, in reading a room, in letting others underestimate you, and then surprising them when it counts. When you speak, people listen. Because here's the magic. When a quiet person finally does speak, people pay attention. Your words carry more weight because they're rare. You're not filling space, you're delivering something that matters. It's like a silent room before the orchestra plays. That moment of calm makes the first note hit harder. Your voice is the same. While others are scrambling to say the first thing that comes to mind, you're thinking 3 layers deep. You see what others miss. You feel the room. You notice the mood shift before anyone else does. And that gives you an edge. In conversations, in business, in relationships, in life. So here's what I want you to remember. Being quiet isn't a flaw. It's not something you have to fix. It's not a barrier to confidence or connection. It's a different language. And when you learn to own it, to use it instead of fight it, you become powerful in a way most people will never understand. Not loud power. True power. There were nights I lay in bed thinking, maybe something's wrong with me. Why don't I enjoy talking for hours? Why do group settings drain me so fast? Why do I overthink every word before I say it? Everyone else seemed so natural. They laughed, they shouted, they flowed like they belonged. And me? I just felt like a ghost floating on the edge of the noise. When you grow up quiet, you hear 1,000 little signals telling you you're not doing life right. Speak up. Why are you so shy? You should participate more. Don't be weird. Eventually you start to believe it. That your silence is a flaw. That your presence isn't valid until it's loud. So you try to change. You force yourself to talk more. You fake smiles. You rehearse jokes. You play loud when you were built for depth. And it exhausts you. Because pretending to be someone you're not is the fastest way to burn out. You scroll through social media and see people hosting parties, dancing in crowds, being the center of attention. And you think, should I be like that? You're comparing your quiet truth to someone else's loud highlight reel. It's not fair to you. They thrive in noise. You thrive in meaning. They connect through sound. You connect through understanding. And neither one is wrong. The key is to stop playing a game you were never meant to win and start owning the one you were built for. What if I told you your quiet is not a lack? It's a filter. It means you don't say things unless they matter. You don't chase attention, you earn it. You don't speak to be heard, you speak to connect. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. It just takes time to see it that way, especially in a world that's too loud to hear itself think. Here's what I've learned. Quiet people often have the deepest thoughts. the richest inner lives, the most powerful empathy. Why? Because they listen, not just to words, but to tone, energy, feeling. They hear the silence between sentences. That's a superpower most people never develop. It allows you to form real bonds, to notice the hurt behind someone's "I'm fine," to make people feel seen. You don't need to say a lot to say enough. So if you've ever felt like your silence made you invisible, I want you to remember this. You don't have to be louder. You just have to be real, because authenticity cuts through noise like a blade. And a single honest word can echo louder than 100 empty ones. How to build quiet confidence. So how do you go from self-doubt to quiet power? Here are 3 simple shifts. 1. Stop apologizing for being quiet. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to make excuses. It's not a problem, it's a preference. Start owning it. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, I'm just quiet," say, "I'm someone who listens first. That's how I connect." Watch how that changes the way people see you and how you see yourself. 2. Use presence instead of volume. You don't need to speak more, just be more present. Make eye contact. Hold yourself with calm strength. Speak slowly and deliberately when you do choose to talk. People will lean in to hear you, because stillness is rare, and rare is powerful. 3. Surround yourself with people who get it. You don't need 100 people who want noise. You need a few who appreciate quiet. The right people won't ask you to change. They'll listen and see you. Find those people. Build your life around them. And let go of the ones who mistake silence for emptiness. You are not broken. You are not too quiet. You are exactly enough as you are. The world needs loud voices, yes. But it also needs quiet ones. Like yours. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat with someone in complete silence and still felt deeply connected? No words. No need to impress. Just presence. That's the kind of connection quiet people understand. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of meaning. We live in a world that glorifies noise. Talk more. Post more. Be more seen. But the irony is, in all that noise, most people aren't actually heard. That's where you come in. You, the quiet observer. The deep thinker. The one who notices what others miss. You are the mirror people don't realize they need. Your silence creates space. Your calmness makes others feel safe. Your stillness invites truth. That's not nothing. That's everything. Here's what people often don't see. Just because you're quiet doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you don't feel things deeply. It doesn't mean you have nothing to say. In fact, it's usually the opposite. Quiet people often burn with intensity. They just don't set the world on fire for show. They do it from within. So if someone ever made you feel small because you didn't shout, just smile. Because there's a storm inside you they'll never be ready for. Hell, being quiet isn't something you fix. It's something you honor. That means designing your life around who you are, not who the world tells you to be. It means choosing depth over drama, meaning over noise, presence over performance. It means no longer shrinking to fit in, but expanding silently to become yourself. And when you do that, everything changes. You attract different people, different energy, different opportunities. Not because you changed your volume, but because you finally trusted your value. Hey, if any part of this video made you feel seen, if it reminded you that being quiet is a strength, not a flaw, take a second to hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that more people like you deserve to hear this. And if you want more honest, quiet conversations like this one, subscribe, stick around. You're not alone here. Here's what I want to leave you with. You don't have to become louder to be powerful. You don't have to change your nature to fit someone else's comfort. You don't have to explain your silence. You just have to own it. Own the pause between your words. Own the comfort in your solitude. Own the presence that others feel but can't describe. Because the truth is, the world doesn't just need more noise. It needs more meaning, more depth, more you. And whether you speak in paragraphs or in pauses, you deserve to be heard just the way you are. Sometimes the quietest people hold the loudest truths. Thank you for watching. And remember, you don't need to be loud to be unforgettable.